At the beginning of the 1900s, Seattle has doubled in size in a decade to 80,000 people. But as big as the city is growing, something else is about to arrive that will loom large to this very day.
Smith Tower is Seattle's skyscraper. It was the first, it remains the most iconic, and it was completely revolutionary in its day.
The idea for the building first arose when industrialist L.C. Smith wanted to construct an 18-story building on land he purchased in downtown Seattle. But his son, Burns Lyman Smith, convinced him to build a much taller skyscraper instead.
Smith was the typewriter and firearm magnate out of New York, decided to invest in Seattle. It was a booming city.
The corner of 2nd and Yesler was chosen as the perfect spot to build. But L.C. Smith died before construction began in 1911. His son made sure the project went on. From the beginning, it was clear this building would be nothing like the city had ever seen.
It was really revolutionary in a couple of ways. First, it was entirely steel frame construction. That was a first.
Nearly 8 million tons of steel was used during the tower's construction. Window frames were fashioned of bronze. Doors were steel, hand-finished to resemble highly grained mahogany. All this was done to make sure the building would be completely fireproof.
It was totally encased in terracotta. So even though it had classical ornament and looked like a building from some historic period, it actually was reborn every time it rained. You never had to clean it.
Inside the building is magnificent as well.
They're beautiful brass elevators, and in fact the lobby is treated in a very ornamental way with beautiful onyx and marble, historic Indian heads.
When it was completed in 1914, the L.C. Smith Building, as it was called, was the 4th tallest building in the world.
Opening day was a big deal. It was July 4th, and 4,000 people came to the Smith Tower, went straight to the top, got out on the observation deck on the 35th floor, and got the first bird's eye view of the city that anyone had ever had from that height.
The building didn't officially change its name to Smith Tower until 1929. It would continue to dominate the skyline for decades, until the early 1960s.
The Smith Tower was the tallest building in Seattle until the Space Needle arrived.
Today, the Smith Tower is dwarfed by its much bigger neighbors. But even after a century, you won't find a building that towers as high in the hearts of locals.
I think what's so great about the Smith Tower is much taller buildings have been built many times over. But when you look at the Seattle skyline today, you still see the Smith Tower. It still stands out as a beautiful symbol of our future.